Hmm. Hello, man. Hello, Mgtows. Holding up the weight of the world, I guess. Hello. Let me get a sound check here, and we'll come in. Hello, man. Hello, Mgtows. How are y'all doing today? I hope you're all doing well. It's been I wouldn't say a good day. It was cold and it was rainy, and that's about it. That's the day I had. It was cold and it was rainy. That didn't have no carbonation. Let's see what happens. Yeah. You got a little, but not much. Hello, Steve. Hello, everybody that's in now. Everybody's going to come in. Now I'll give it a little time before I go into the monologue or whatever it is I do here. Mgtow's a funny place. Been having some it's just wow sometimes. And you look at it and it's no different than the world. The world is out there, and there's things to beware of in the world. The world is what it is, and Mgtow on the internet is no different. You're going to get the same kind of people. Oh, that's better than I thought it was. Okay, that's my brand. I made that about 3 weeks ago. Hello, Kevy2. Hello, how you doing today? Well, it's Saturday night, and Saturday was cold and rainy, and all sorts of things on the north coast of Ohio, and it gets weird. I was a new branch of reading this week, a new branch of philosophy, I guess. I was going down the Richard McKenna road of philosophy, and most of you guys probably don't know who Richard McKenna is. Some of you guys are sailors. Richard McKenna is the sailor's Homer. He writes about sailing. He writes about sailing during World War II in Korea. He spent 22 years of his life on a naval vessel, being a mechanic, a ship's mate, an engineer, a maintenance man working on engines. And then he wrote the famous movie, The Sand Pebble. And I think The Sand Pebble is irrelevant today. It's more relevant than it's ever been. It's a beautiful written book. Richard McKenna was a very talented author with his writing. He's very fascinating, but The Sand Pebble in itself tells about an engineer like him on a boat, and how much he was just a normal guy. He tried to keep away from politics, knew his place in the world. We all got to know our place in the world. We're not part of that special class. We're not part of the ship's elite. And we realized that at some point, and it's hard to swallow. They're not inviting you into their club, and there's no way to get into their club. Jack McKenna found that out. Jack McKenna comes from a poor, very poor family that was born. He was born 1913, I think it was. Yeah, 1913, and in the United States, and he lived through the worst years, the stock market crash. He lived through poverty, utter poverty. His family's farm was taken from him by the United States government. Yeah, the government took the family's farm, and they lived in tents in a tent city as a kid. And he knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to have to join the army, a lot like I did at 17 years old. I joined the army because there was nothing else. And when they asked me, why are you doing this? I told them simply, I have nothing else. There's nothing else for me to go. And they thought, perfect. You're perfect. You got nothing else. And that's the way it is for a lot of immigrants. That's the way it is for a lot of immigrants in this world. I was an immigrant. I was a second generation Irish immigrant to this country. And we didn't have time to build wealth, and McKenna didn't have time to build wealth, and his family somehow ended up with a farm and got it taken by the same system that he went and fought for. So you can imagine there was there's a lot about iconoclast and rubbing against the system and doing those things. And I think all Mgtows are iconoclast. Um, we are that brand of person. We are the person that attacks cherished beliefs and institution. And what cherished beliefs and institutions do we attack? We're attacking marriage, and we're attacking them ingrained tradcon, traditional conservative institutions that are ingrained into our society that produces such awful things as white knights and simps and beggars and incels and all those. Them are the traditional conservative people that you see them everywhere out there now. They're the nationalists. They're the flag wavers. They're all for their country, even though their country, in Richard McKenna's case, and in my case, at some time, your country will be your worst enemy. Your country will come and take your house. Your country will come and put you in slavery, and that's what we talk about here in Mgtow. After you get a divorce from those strong, independent, beautiful women, they're still strong and so independent. They need a slave to exist. And that's what we're saying. You don't need a slave. Go girl. You don't need a slave. You don't need me as a slave. You don't need the institution of marriage to back up your needs and wants. All you need to do is be that strong, independent go girl that I hear about. And leave me alone. All I am is a DNA donor. And that's the way I believe in life. And I think I'm pretty much correct. If you do the biology of those things, I'm 100% correct. But a lot of people don't like to hear those things. A lot like Jack McKenna back in those days. He played Jake Holman. Richard was his personification of his avatar in life was Jake Holman. Jake Holman was the guy in the sand pebble that walked in and he said, "Hello, engine." And he talked to the engine. He believed that engines were reliable and engines were better than people. Machines are reliable and machines are better than people in some ways. Most ways they are. They don't talk back. You give them a little care and a little maintenance, and they do what they're supposed to do. He talked to his machines. I do that a lot when I fix machines. I talk to them. We got the personification of this kind of person in a lot of books. Steinbeck's John, the car mechanic that can lay his hand on a car and the car would somehow magically fix itself. Jack Holman was that kind of guy. He laid his hands on the engine and the engine purrs better, because there are some people in life, and I think I'm one of those people, that their mere presence around things makes things better. They touch things and then things magically heal themselves, and there's magic in it. And somehow, no, not really. They just know what button to push, which way to push. If it's crank it this way, turn it this way. They have a good sense for those things. They can make things work. And most of us in our lives, we're going to be that. We're going to be that kind of person. Now, on the other end, I do believe there's three kinds of people in this world. There's people that aren't involved with machines, cars. They have no connection to the world they live in. And I do believe there's people which I call schlepprocks. Schlepprock was that little guy from the Flintstones cartoon that always had the cloud floating over. These people are people that can walk around a machine and that machine will stop running. These people are the people that will knock something over and that'll knock something else over and knock something else over and the whole thing goes to hell. These people you do not want working with you, and these people will bust things. The mere touch will bust something. We used to have a friend, we called him a schlepprock. He can touch something and it would break. They're the opposite of Jack Holman, this guy that loved this engine. He would talk to his engine and he believed engines were perfect. And a lot of Mgtow. And in this kind of analogy, the engine is Mgtow. Here in Mgtow, we got this engine, and the sand pebble is the ship we're going, and we are all the little sand pebbles. They used to call it it was the San Pablo, but the workers of the San Pablo were the sand pebbles. Then were the little plebes like us. The little plebes are little pebbles. We don't matter. We just make things run. And in this world, there's classism. That's why we are so iconoclast because we have to deal with classism. There's, you know it, you see it, you complain about it every single day. You're that guy that complains about it. You're the iconoclast that's going to smash their cherished beliefs. We talk about classism, we talk about gynocentrism. Gynocentrism is a form of classism. It puts this beautiful class above you. And above that class, we see it play out in our politics. We see it play out in everything. We see it play out in Mgtow. We see the white knighting around here, the awful white knighting. Just go try it. I do it all the time. I'll go say something horrible, and I just wait for the white knights to jump up, and up jumped the white knight, and had to make that stop. I did it the other day and I was shocked at some of the men that just, you can't say that Traversable Mgtow about the upper class. That's what we're talking about, the upper class, the gynocentric class, which you hold up, us men hold up like this moon. I just hold it up all day. We hold the planets on our backs, and that's what we do as the engineers and the maintenance men, the building builders and the road workers. You're just a plebe. You're just a sand pebble in this whole thing. You're the disposable male. You are the sand pebbles. And sometimes, like Jake Holman and the sand pebble, you just get used to that and you try to maneuver the world that you live in. But the world's not going to let you alone. No, like Jake Holman found out. Bergman was the female character and the sand pebble, and Jake Holman was this iconoclast mechanic that didn't have no interest in these things, but he fell in love. He fell in love, and she told him all sorts of great things, how wonderful it was going to be, how wonderful it. Oops, Buckeye start at 8. Yeah. Hello, Swine Dog. I'm going to watch that too, I think, if I get some time. I'll probably watch the second half because I'm doing this. But yeah, Jake Holman and the Sand Pebble fell in love, and then he went to save her. And at the end, he has one of the most classic lines ever. He's like, I'm home. I was home. This was supposed to be home as the representation of the traditional world gave him. I'm here. I came here to save her, to be that one. She made promises. This was a beautiful place. This was Eden. And when he got there, he got a bullet in the chest. And as he was dying, he said, I'm home. And then he screamed out, what the hell happened? And I think all of you Mgtows that ever been in a divorce, all of you Mgtows that ever been there, I was home. You know the feeling of home with the kids running around and she's got that apron on and there's baked pies and you're home but what the hell happened? This wasn't the home that they told me about. And that was Jack McKenna's idea of, but it starts off with certain things. It starts off with you being the slave class underneath this gynocentric class, underneath this upper class of something, this room. And I think Genesis says, in one of their songs, there's this room up there, Carpet Crawlers. If you ever listen to it, it's about that magic room up there that you can't get. And it's better up there. And there's somewhere, it's up there, but you just got to keep climbing, man. You just got to keep climbing, and you realize there's no such place. There's just home, and you're it. And it's up to you and what's in your heart. And there ain't nothing that's going to make that better deep down inside. And there's no validation from these gyno thoughts. And and there's nothing that can fill them holes in you, and you got to do it yourself. And that's the horror at the end of the movie. That's the horror of now Jack McKenna, or Richard McKenna, has I call him Jack because he relates to the Holman, Jack Holman, that young, spry, single male. Yeah. Now he writes a few other books. The Left-Handed Monkey Wrench, which some of you guys might have read over the years. And there's a few books that he wrote, and he's the Sailor's Homer. But I was thinking about that this week. I was thinking about, I'm going to reread the book. Me and my brother had an argument once. My father brought the book home. It was one of those red red bound back books in 1960s, and we're like, we're gonna read that book. And we seen the movie. The movie came on like 1964, I think, 1968, and my dad grabbed the book and he's like, I'm reading this book, and he took it to work, and the book never made it home. And for years we're like, I got to read that book. And then finally I got into the sixth grade library where you're allowed to get books like that. And then I found out that it was a banned book in the sixth grade library because of the kissy faces and stuff, and the idea of this iconoclast male that was rubbing against the grain. And so they banned the book in my school. And back in those days, they did ban books in my school. It was a Christian school that was underneath the cloak of a public school, and we had Christian rules, and we had to abide by those, and a lot of books were banned. I never even got it until I hit high school. I didn't get to read any of the American classics, and God forbid Stalin might be in one of those books, or Marxism or socialism, and that would be, oh man, they would, if they found you, they would have cut your hand off reading. And I think it was good because over the years you find books in places, and you find little bits of wisdom and pearls of genius and everything, and even know where the artist came from. Sometimes one of my favorite books of all time is The Bluest Eye. It's about my neighborhood, Lorain, Ohio, during the 1930s, but it's nothing to do with me. It has to do with a poor little black girl that was raped. But it has nothing to do with me, but there's bits and pieces of genius in the book. And me being a young man, it was one of the first books I was ever exposed to, and I was like, wow, I'm a white guy in this world, a white second generation Irish kid growing up in this world, in this place that I can hardly identify with. All that is out there is I worked. There was a choice, pick a trade. That's what they told us, and go talk to the father. And the father will help you out getting into a trade school, and go talk to the priest, and he'll help you go. And that's what my neighborhood was. And some of those things that I remember applying for the trades, and then I got turned down because I was a poor second generation Irish kid. And, them trades and everything, them were for the English kids and the Italian kids. And couldn't get it because I was that. And so I joined the Army at 17 years old. I know what it's like. I know what having no options is like in life. There was no money for college, and you end up in this class. And then as Mgtow progresses, all your regrets in this world kind of fold into Mgtow, and you see why. Oh man, there's a lot of classes above me, and there's a lot of people that think they're better than me, and there's a lot of people that just take for granted the riches that were dumped on them. I was talking about this the other day in one of my videos, but I can't understand what it's like to have a college. They talk about it all the time. He went to college, and his dad dumped $120,000 into Ohio State or Oberlin, and I know a cat that went to Oberlin, and I know a cat that went to Cleveland State Law School, and I know that. I was like, wow. I wish I had that. And so I don't understand what it's like not to have to work for every credit, not to have to pay that $316 and that $86 for a book out of my pocket. So, and it took me years and years and years. Here I was in Richmond, and here in Virginia, and Cleveland, and internet school, and it was one long progression of just failure and everything. So I know what it's like to be one of the sand pebbles that he was talking about, and you develop this iconoclast. You rub against the grain of these people, that these established institutions that generally hold you down. They don't help. If I was a female, yes, I would have got a grant. if my skin color was different, if I was a little browner, there would be some openings for me to go to school. But no, it's I was a white Irish kid that was just supposed to, like, daddy was supposed to send him to school and everything. No, that doesn't happen for us. Um, and there's this perceived image of us out there, these old white guys that got everything handed to them. No, I worked for 30, 40 years in the steel mill, and that's it. But I learned how to make beer, and it wasn't a steel mill. I went from company to company, and generally jobs don't last that long, and you get a skill and you kind of go with it, and that's it. That's your life. And you look back at your life, and in America, and I think, geez, most people grow from 8 years old to 80, and still be failing at 80 and be going pillar to post in this society. And it's sad. And you think about those things. I think about those things, and I read books that generally reflect my attitude about those. I look for people and authors like Richard McKenna that come from very poor, very desolate. They know what it's like to have to work for a living. They know he knows why he joined the Navy, because the Navy was all there was. You can join the Army, you can join the Navy, you can join the Marines. Pick one, because them jobs, they weren't open for you. So it's a good idea. That's what I've been reading this week, and I'm going to go through all McKenna's collection, and I'm probably going to end up with the Sailor's Homer at the end of the week and read that, the review of his life, and try to think up and reflect on what I learned. And I suppose it comes down to some of my moderate liberal views on things. We have some people that really hate me for my moderate liberal views. I'm a centrist. I'm a working man. I know what unions are. I know what unions are for. I know that a moderate Democratic stance and the Democratic Party are the only people looking out for me. I know that, and I vote that way because we get these political things, and that's why I kind of brought up Jack Holden, and I read over there this week because I was looking at, Jack Holden was okay in his life. Everything it was just groovy for him on the boat until two things happened. Bergman came in, and politics came in. And the argument of politics, and politics turned into a skirmish, a war. And who was going to go fight that war? It wasn't the rich. It wasn't those people up here. No, it's the people way down here. Way down here. It was you and I that get to hold up the moon. We're holding up this planet, the working people. Every one of you guys are like that. And I hear these people, the PUAs, traveling around the world, are ya? Picking up the girls, traveling around the world, are ya? What's that like? I wouldn't know, because like 90% of you guys, and I know most of it, I'm a working man from a working poor Irish family, and I don't have no delusions about that, and I don't have no delusions of the upper room. I tried in my life. I was once an owner of an establishment, had my own business and everything, and even then they wouldn't let me in. Even then they wouldn't let me in because there was something wrong with me. I was the nouveau guy, that nouveau riche that was so horrible in the 90s and everything. They talked about him like dogs. I wasn't old money. But yeah, and that all ended. They'll find a way to take everything from you. And that's where I can relate to Richard McKenna. The government, the same government that he went to war, fought 2 wars for, them were the same people that took the family farm. Them are the same people that did what they did to him. Them were the same people that made his life, but he never gave up. He knew he was the sand pebble. He knew who he was. When asked about his religious, he go, That's not for me. That's for the people up there that talk about those political things. That's not for me. I don't think about those things. But in the end, he got he got sucked up into it. He had a belief, and then he started believing in the upper room. If I got married, if I took a woman, if I took that into my life, and I did what everybody else was doing, maybe then they would let me in. And that's the way I thought back in the day. That's what I thought. Maybe. God, they'll let me into the upper room and I'll finally be able to hobnob with the rich people and I'll be there and I've arrived. And it never happened. I ended up in worse shape than I started off. And it's the lie. It's the lie that we get told. And it's the lie that we fall for when we talk about those traps and those landmines. And I think the sand pebble was a good explanation of it. And it's more relevant today than it was in years before. It's more relevant because we got our coolies again. There's a class of coolies out there. $1 million. Yeah, I was gonna be that guy. That's what I thought in life. Straight out of the 80s. Yeah. But now we got our new class of coolies. What are our new class of coolies? Dougie. There you go, Doug's. He just did that. That's what Doug. He comes in and he knocks things over. He's been knocking my guitar over. He's got this thing where he just comes up and he just hits it and he knocks it over and he thinks it's funny. Yeah, Doug's. So we got the new class of coolies now. What is the new class of coolies? Them Asian sand pebbles on the San Pablo. Them people that they got to treat like dirt. Yeah, men are the new coolies. Yeah, hey coolie. Yeah, you ever hear that statement? You ever hear someone call them, "Hey, you coolie"? Yeah, they do. They still say that in Jamaica. It's an insult. Coolies in Hawaii, it's an insult. You know why it's still an insult in Hawaii? Because you had the public works in Hawaii, and they're building ships there, and that's what they called the Asian people, the coolies, and they were the indigenous workers of the boats, and they were just kind of attached to the boat, and they called them coolies. And the Hawaiian people soon found out that they were the coolies. There was another class above them and another class above them. But today in this modern world that we live in, you would think that we'd mature and we'd grow out of it as time goes on, but no. As the older you get, you'll see humans never change. Humans, and that's Jack Holman. Jack Holman says, I love these machines. They do what they're supposed to do. You oil it, you give it love, you give it a little care, and it does what you're supposed to do. A motor, an engine will do what it's supposed to. Humans aren't like that. Humans are internally flawed, and we are, as a society, we are so flawed, it's almost ridiculous. And we believe in these beliefs that are just bizarre to me sometimes, because I was born a poor Irish kid, and I seen my impending enslavement. I wanted to get out of there, and even that I did. But yeah, there's this new class of coolie. I guess the Irish are at one point the coolies, and black people are at one point the coolies, and then next the Asians were the coolies, and who's the next? The Germans were, and then the Italians were, and then the poor Polish people that came in late in the 60s, 70s, and then the Mexicans now are the coolies that we talk about, and the Muslims now are taking over the place of the Mexicans being the coolies. So things never change, and once you think about it like that, when was your specific what you were, when were your class, when was you a coolie? We were all coolies at one time when we came into this country, but it's a good book, and it's a better book than it is a movie, even though Steve McQueen played a good part in that. And Steve McQueen's the man, he's like he got on a motorcycle, and he's that all-American boy. And if you look at the Steve McQueen, my cat thinks I'm a coolie. Yeah, I bet you he does. Dougie thinks I'm his slave. He makes me get his food. I have to let him out. I have to clean up after him. Dougie thinks that, like, he looks at me sometimes like, you give me that schwill, and he spits his food back out, and he throws it up in the middle of the floor, and he's like, that was schwill. Give me some better food. So I buy him the Benefals and the Mighty Dog, and he seems to like that. But yeah, it's the way cats look at us and dogs look at us. The animals and the way we look at the animals. You can learn a lot in that. And I tried to, if you read Albert Schweitzer about the way we look at the beast, and you can learn a lot about who you are, and learn about, how we are gods, and how we are gods in Mgtow. And because we can see our godliness in a dog that can't talk, and he can't do this, and he can't do these things for himself, and that we project that up into the casual cruelty that we do to these animals and everything, and we can work that same idea up through feminism, and we can the casual cruelty that's done to men and women, all the idea that I look at that person like he's not quite as much as I am, and yeah, we do that from animals to institutions to human beings. Who is the coolie? Who is the next coolie? And I'm very in touch with that. There's a lot of books that I enjoyed in my life and had real profound effects on me. The Sand Pebble was one. The Bluest Eye was another. Not that I read from the trilogy of feminism. That's what the Three Evils and trilogy of feminism. Who was that? That was Toni Morrison and Aguilar and the other female author. But MT3 is like, no, Joe, don't read that garbage. Yeah, I started a book years ago, and my first computer, I had 3 books started, and I wrote maintenance manuals at that time, and I wrote for the Army. I linguistics for the Army. I did linguistics in the Army, and I wrote. And then one day we had I don't know if you remember, way back around 2002. I'm just trying to finish these books up, and we had one of those sunstorms and sunspots, and I'm watching it on TV, and I had my computer running, and my computer went out, and I was like, oh God, and everything was wiped from my computer, and I was like, back up, back everything up. That's what they told me. But I didn't know that at that time, because I was just new to the internet and new to having a computer. I never had a computer till right around 2000. I knew what they were, and I got to work on them and in the Army, but I never knew what they were. I never knew I never owned one because I could afford one. But yeah, maybe someday I would like to write a book about my experiences in South America. That would be interesting, and sort of a bad in Paraguay from a Mgtow point of view. I think that would be funny. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things, and there's a lot of things that, man, it depends where you're coming from. If you're one coming from, yeah, I don't think many Mgtows come from that special place where daddy buys your college, and you get to stay at home till you're 30, and you get to go to school and everything's taken care of. And I didn't come from that class. I often wonder what it was like, and wow, must have been really cool. And I'm not jealous. I'm like, damn, you got it all going, and I'm happy for you. But I wasn't from that place, and sometimes me and my friend talk about it. Like we talk about when someone asked me a question about about these things, and I can't answer it because I have no idea. I'm like, I'm not from that class. I'm not from that brand of person where I would know about going to college and having it paid for. My father didn't buy me a car. We had 9 kids in my family. We were poor Irish kids. So I had to join the army at 17. I don't know these things. I don't know what that's like. And I don't know what it's like to live at home. I left home when I was 15 years old, pretty much. It's not my life. And what would I know about that? But if you ask me what happened after that, I can give you some terrific hippie tales and wandering around the United States up to the point where I joined the army. I copped a felony and I had to join the army because we had stole a car. I could tell you about what that's like, and coming from a poor family. Yeah, I know what that's like. They reduced my felony. I got to join the army, and things are happy. But I was one of those sand pebbles then that McKenna was talking about. I was a sand pebble, and I think a lot of you guys can relate to that. Why am I a Democrat? They ask me, Joe. I get this all the time. I don't understand what it's like to be your kind. I'm a poor working kid. I believe in unions, and I believe in strong labor because I was that kid, and it's nice, and I'm happy for you all that I got to enjoy all that stuff, that American world that I'll never enjoy. But and I'm not jealous because I made my own life. But but that's what America's about, man, about building that life. But nowadays, like in McKenna's case, the government took his farm, and the government is bigger and needs more, and they'll eat the farms and they'll eat the houses, and they become the company store. Then the company store policies become that's when my complaint comes in now, is when the government just becomes the company store, and it starts eating up all the houses it builds, and it starts eating up everything because it still needs to feed, because it's not doing good. And that's what our government, it still needs to feed, and it's not going to downsize. It's going to feed on all of you little guys, my house, your house. Everything's going to go. You're not going to be, they're the inheritance taxes. You're not going to be able to give to your children. And they'll take all that, all in the name for these upperclassmen can sit around in their stuffed chairs and behind their desk. And woo, that must be nice. Going to Harvard must have been nice. I did have a military, after I got out and everything, they sent me a military. I could have went to Boca Raton, but I just couldn't see I didn't have no place to live. They weren't going to give me. I got the scholarship for schooling, but where was I going to live? I got to go down there, find a job, and I had to work through that. And then it was just too hard. And so that was my accomplishment in life after the army. I was so smart that I got a scholarship for Boca Raton that I couldn't use. And that was the military academy scholarship. They wanted me to become part of the better class. I'm a poor kid from Cleveland. I understand that. That's what Jake Holman was saying. I'm a poor kid. I understand. Don't. Don't. So we all look at life differently here in Mgtow. Some of us come from this. Some of us come from this. Some of us come from this. Some of us believe in the great Trump now, the Republican, and some of us believe that that's not quite what they're telling us, and we've learned that experience of the. No, I don't believe in that lie. Think of Jake Holman. He believed it for a minute. Don't believe that stuff, political things, and that's what the whole movie was about. The whole book was about. For us little sand pebbles, the only time it's ever going to matter is when these political things come to bear weight on us, like that moon in back of me that I have to hold up constantly. And you're the guy that's going to end up holding that up. You're going to be the soldier. Your son's going to be the soldier. Your son's going to have to fight. People are going to die, not their sons, your sons. And that's when the big lie comes into fruition. And he says, I thought I was home. What the fuck happened? What the hell happened? Because at any moment, everything could change. Everything. I know. I had that camper and that boat and that house at one point, and I was a business owner, and one moment I was happy, and one moment I walked in through that door, and then there was two policemen there, and the Me Too come. It's like, Mr. Burns, you're gonna have to leave your house because you're being aggressive to your wife. And I was like, what? I just got home from work. When did I have a chance to do that? And they said, no. Said, you're going to leave. And then she filed for divorce. And in a moment, in an instant, I was homeless. In an instant, I was homeless. And the same government that I fought for, the same people I fought for, yeah, they took everything from me. It happens. It happens more like that, more often than none. And it's those things we don't talk about. It's those things that we can't say. What was that line by Tony about secrets? About secrets. You know, it was that's the secrets they keep. You know, secrets are kept, and they don't tell us about those things as young men, and they don't tell us about those things. The end result of some of these things. But I see a lot of this garbage going on in Mgtow. I have, you guys have noticed that I have a impersonation account going on, and I'm pretty sure it's my impersonation account is because I don't have the same kind of political beliefs as the other people, so they're going to impersonate that account and make me look bad. I don't really care. It's not going to change my political beliefs. I'm a moderate Democrat. I come from a moderate Democrat working family of poor steel workers. Them things don't change just because my life, 50 years of experience in life, doesn't change just because some alt-righters have some real ignorant ideas about what I am, and that's where it's coming from. So they make up an impersonation account to start doing their little toils, and it's kind of flattering that some people would spend that much time letting me live in their head. You know the first rule. You know the first rule of life. Never let somebody else live in your head for free. He's not paying rent. And I kind of giggle when I see that, as like, you're letting me live in your head, buddy. Move along from that. And I have no love for the far left, and I have no love for the far right. And that's just the way I am. I dislike them both equally, and I dislike both their policies because I was born a poor coolie. I was born in a sand pebble. I was a poor Irish kid. I didn't get the breaks in life. I didn't have all those things. I didn't have a home at 15. It was always me, just me, that had to do these things, had to make these concessions in life. So I don't understand them. I don't understand none of their politics, and I don't want to get into it because I know where that road goes down. It's the same as Jake Holman was saying. He was like, I'm home. What the hell happened? And then they shot him, because I've had that happen before too, right at the end. I'm home. And then they ripped my heart out. The same government that I believed in was there. Hey, once again, Joe, you forgot your place. You forgot your place. No, I never forget my place. I never forget my place. And I think, down in history, legends are made from people that never forget their place. Robin Hood and Jack Holman and the guy that lived by the barrel, and he says, "No, I know exactly what I am. Do you know what you are?" When Mark Anthony came, and he says, "Is there anything I could do for you?" And he said, "Yeah, you can move about 10 feet to the left so the sun to shine on me. You're taking the sun up." It's iconoclast. It's what the iconoclast like myself and what I think most MGTOWs used to be. We're fighting against that thing, that ugly, ugly thing, that institution, that tradition that drags us down. And they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose. I'll tell you what. They got a lot of money. They got a lot of clout. They got a lot of political pull, and they don't want to lose. But it ain't going to shut me up because legends are made of those men that, like you and me, Magnus and Terran, Mgtow Warrior and Al Capone, all you guys, you could be a legend if you bust through that. Don't you want to be a legend, Robin Hood? Or you want to sit and argue about their silly politics? I'd rather roll the dice, 1 out of 1,000,000, roll that dice, and maybe there's a chance, a sparkling chance at the end that you end up that legend, because that's about the same chance as you getting into that upper room and the elite letting you in. It's about the same chance. I'll take the other one where I take this and I punch holes in chests and I irritate them. At least I had a purpose in life. And that's what MGTOW's about. I don't care what's going out with the feminisms. I don't care what they're doing. I don't care what the political people are doing up there. When you see me coming, the only reason I'm coming is to punch a hole in their chest. That's the only reason I'm coming. Because it's a deplorable institution that they have. And I'm the guy I'm that wrecking ball. I'm that Joe. That's the way I feel about myself. Never lose your ego, MGTOW. Without your ego, you'll get crushed in this world. I am that thing that they fear. You believe that about yourself, and you believe that in your MGTOW. I'm that thing that's coming for you. And even if we do lose this war, this battle that we're fighting for, at least I held on to a little bit of dignity in my life, and I didn't sell out. Don't be a sellout. Hold on to that little bit of dignity. If it comes through ego, if it comes through a higher standard, if it comes from monk, that's what you're really doing, because you know where you were born. You know what class you're in. And you're not in their class. Hold on to a little dignity. When they see me coming, it's going to be a bad day. They just realize that right off the bat. Hey, Dougs, what are you doing? Dougie's huffing and puffing. I know you want another can. I bought him a 224 packs today of those cans. We're working our way up to the Christmas Beneful cans, which I'm going to get them later. And we were discussing today at the store, and it's a weird discussion. I was sitting at the food store today, and I was like, my buddy's standing there, and we're talking, and I was like, what am I going to buy Dougie for Christmas? And then you get some weird discussion about, I was like, maybe he look good in that little sweater, the Cleveland Browns sweater, but he's a white puffy dog. He doesn't, I don't know what he would look good in. Maybe a Seattle Seahawks sweater. And it's like, I decided I'm going to get him a new bed, new fluffy bed, and then put it in the garage where he can get a little opening, and he can, that's, don't tell him, but He's yeah, weird discussions you have during the day about stuff like that. That just always freaks me out when I go back over my day and I review my day and I was like, what happened today? What was this about? What was this about? Uh, why did this happen? What was this discussion about? And I come to grips with, I take my introspection of my life, my day. Was I wrong? Was I right? And I do those things. That's where the Mgtow helps me because it puts me firmly back on the ground and firmly in reality where I am, what I am in this world, and whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, uh, whether I could take responsibility for something, or if I need something served to me, some respect. That's where it goes both ways. You see, did I acquiesce? Was that a weak stance that I took? No, you do those introspections, those monk introspections, uh, and you do those daily at the end of the night, and then you put things straight, and that gives you a chance to put things straight. Because one thing I've always found out in life is, man, there's certain things I can't live with, and if I spend 10 years living with being wronged, or if I wrong something, I'm the fool. I'm that guy. No, put those things right. It's like my analogy when I say you're pulling out of a convenience store, you got your morning coffee. Somebody pulls in front of you and you stomp on the brakes, your coffee spills, and you're like, oh, and a tirade of gestures and foul language comes out of your mouth, and you're mad, and you're insanely mad at that guy, and he turns right and you turn left, and 5 miles down the road you're still bitching about that. Give that up, because you're only hurting yourself at that point. And I realized that a long time ago in life. Man, there's things that come to visit you that are going to be incredibly hard. Uh, the sooner you tuck that under the rug, and the sooner you kick it out of your way, or punch a hole in it, or do whatever you need to do as a Mgtow to get rid of it, the sooner you can move on. And that's what being a Mgtow is about. At least that's my Mgtow. And my Mgtow doesn't reflect a lot of Mgtows. I'm a poor steel worker from Cleveland. I'm a poor soldier. I'm that sand pebble. But it gives us character, and it gives us least at least a one thing I can hold on in my life as a Mgtow is the character I exude in this life. The things that there's rights and there's wrongs, and the position I take on things, a fair and equal balanced position. But I always remember that if this be true too. If someone tries to pull that garbage on me, I'm right there to just no. I'll check you right into the boards on that just as fast as I'll apologize or say, no, I was wrong about that. It's about being well balanced and have your feet firmly planted on the ground. Sometimes it is hard and our ego gets in the way. An ego's a beautiful thing for a male. It's what they want us not to have. It's that kickstarter in the morning sometimes that gets me up in the morning. That ego. Sometimes it's the only thing that gets me up. My Mgtow, say my Mgtow prayer. It's like, go my own way. Let it be. I'll go my own way. And all my sins and all them things from the past. I was wrong. I believed in traditionalism. I was wrong about that. Got me bad. Yeah, that was a good lesson. Yeah, good lesson. But I'll tell you what, never turn your back on me again. That will be a lesson. There will be a lesson. Yeah, I've seen worse than that. Yeah. I'm not saying I didn't do okay in this world up to this point. I'm saying the things that, the things you get served as a child, the things you get served up in life, sometimes you're not going to be there. Sometimes you're going to grip and on to hold on to things. Sometimes it's pillar to post. I don't know what it's like to be a part of that upper class. I wish I was. I grin sometimes and think about it. We all do. It's like hobnobbing with the elite, and can you imagine me there? It would. First of all, you'd have to buy a special suit jacket that would probably cost about $500 because I have to have it made because I'm. It's like hobnobbing with the elite. Ooh, yeah. What does that champagne taste like? I have no idea. Yeah, I like the pretenders in life, the pretenders that believe. Some of them will get there. Some of them will work hard and they'll get there. Most of us will just work hard and we'll get here. You get to that point in your life where you're just happy with shit, and that's it. That's it. And you learned all those lessons, and my God, there's a lot of them too, and they ain't easy. And most of them will be about like there's men, working class men, we're here. Then there's gynocentrism, they're the next class, the women above us, and then the next class there, that's the upper room that you're not invited in. Get used to it. Get used to it, plebe. Yeah, you're a sand pebble. Once you know, if this be true, get used to it. There's a lot of things in life that once you get you firmly understand in life, that's when you start moving forward. That's when you deal with reality on reality basis. You know, that's when you deal with the world on the world's basis. It's no, there's no more dreams. There's no more garbage to lead you astray. That's when you can't get hurt no more. Just realizing what this is all about. And I think that's what Mgtow is. We all just realized what it was about and how bad it sucks sometimes. And that's okay. Eat that, and internalize it, chew that. My buddy always tells me, chew on that, Joe. Chew on that, swallow it, and then get over it and let's get going. Some bad happens, something breaks, or a piece or a part or an electrical system or something just doesn't work. And he's like, just chew on that for a while, Joe, and just swallow it. And let's move on. I mean, we can't spend all day on this. That's life. Sometimes you just swallow that red pill. Just swallow it. That's what we tell them. It's gonna suck, man. It's gonna taste like Dougie's ass. And then you get used to it and you come to acceptance. And the acceptance is where you can start making one foot in front of the other, trudging forward, trudging forward. And it's a better place to live because things start getting easier and you start making headway. And that's the beautiful thing about Mgtow. Before I found this, I was dead. I was gone. I was going to lay down in the snow and just perish. All those dreams were shattered. Every single one of them, down to the last cent, sitting in front of the credit union trying to get money out of a bank. There was no money left, and she took it all. Nowhere to go. Where was I sleeping that night? That's where that'll leave you. That traditional trad kind of dreams and hopes. That's where that'll leave you, because they could take it like that, and they know they can. They take it like that, and it don't matter who you were. It's Brifout's law. It's Brifout's law with the government. It's Brifout's law with the courts. It's Brifout's law with gynocentrism. Anything you've done in the past, that's in the past. But that's a truth that you have to. That's all in the past. And if this be true, this be true too. Let's start working with that. I love Mgtow for that. I love Mgtow for giving me that understanding in life. And although it was hard, and I don't blame none of those other people for doing what they did and feminism and all that. Like I said, my wife gave me the best information of my life. She said, Joe, it's none of your business what I do with my body. And I thought, if that be true, it'd be true for me too. And it's none of anybody else's business what I do from this moment on in my life. Just don't get caught, Joe. That's what I learned about my brother. He's like prison for years and years. Two of my brothers is like prison boys. And all the thing they taught me is just don't get caught, Joe. Don't get caught. And that becomes the most important thing. Move on, deal with those harsh lessons. They steal from you, you steal from them, and don't get caught. And that's it. That's all I got to say today. You guys got anything you want to say? Anybody got anything they want to say to me? 60 minutes. I went on for an hour about Iconoclast. Amazing. Amazing. So I hope your weekend's good. It's Sunday, and I think the Ohio State game just started. I'm not going to go watch it. I'm not going to end my podcast to go watch. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm going to go watch the Ohio State game. I'm going to throw a few beers in the freezer. I'm going to cut some cheese up and get some crackers out. And I'm going to yell and I'm going to scream and I'm going to do all the things you do at a football game. And I'm going to put Dougie outside. And that's it. That's my life today. And I hope I inspired some of you. And that's it. That's all this is about. Inspiring the young Mgtows and the Mgtows to, get a little attitude. Get a little attitude and get a clenched up teeth and look forward. Take that first step forward. And when they see you coming, they will fear. And that's the only thing they can expect from a Mgtow. Get out of my way. That's what you say. Get out of my way. And that's what they can't expect because they've treated us so badly for so long in this world. Get out of my way. There's no doubt in my mind why men act like men act. It's just get out of my way. You've treated me poorly. And that's all I wanted to say. And you guys have a great day. I'm going to go watch the Ohio State game. If it is on today, it is Saturday, yeah. And like always, it's each and every one of you guys that make this thing special, and more of us that come around and the more of us that group together, we become a force. We become that tide. We become that sea. And we're going to wreck everything about their traditionalism. We're going to wreck everything about their programs. And we're coming. And we're coming. They should have dealt with us 10 years ago and made an offer, but they didn't. Now Mgtow's coming. Deal with it. And you guys have a great day. It's all about you, each and every one of you. Thanks for being Mgtow. Mgtow.